So yeah, I promised I would do this video, and so here I am. I got to do what I say. So yeah, there'll be chapters down below. So if you want to skip back through a lot of this stuff, but here's a nice peaceful picture of my backyard the way it was for 13 years until David C. Bills decided, I had had enough of that life. So yeah, I contacted Mr. David C. Bills twice in 13 years. Lived in peace for the most part. I mean, yeah, they stepped over, but once was for PA 730, which happened multiple times before I actually called, because that's the way I do it. I kind of put up with things until I don't. And the second time was for a flagpole issue that you can hear here. I'm going to give you a little bit. Shut up for a second so you can really hear it. It was every day. You walk out your backyard every day. All you hear is this constant clanking of this flagpole. So yeah, I ended up fixing that myself because I put a bungee around it because I could tell by David C. Bills' responses that that wasn't a priority. And the funny thing is, I think he already knew that he had surprises for me here coming up. So, and again, I'm speaking quick because I want to try to make it through this video quickly. My other version was way too long. So yeah, like I said, I'm not really going to talk about all the dust we've been eating since July 15th, something like that. I don't know. The sky looked like something, when the Canadian wildfires were going. I'm not going to talk about it. I will, just review what we dealt with. Pretty much, you have to just look at the weather. I mean, you're talking a month and a half, 2 months of constant dust. They'll try to blame the weather, or it's this person's fault or that person's fault. Doesn't really matter. I mean, plenty of highway trucks, water trucks, $40 million project. Now they want 70. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, I'm sure they'll get their 70, whatever, but here's what experience I had based on that situation. So I want to introduce you to a thing that I call the Plume of Excellence. This was a picture sent to me by someone, and they happened to be driving by at 35 miles per hour. At first I thought it was worthless because I had to zoom in, but if you really zoom in and you take a look at it, take a look at that dust, man. Pummeling this lady's house, a few houses down, and we all took turns because it all depended on where that they were working at the moment. And basically seeing from this video here, nobody was exempt, depending on wherever the bulldozers were. No water truck, nothing, right? And some people will go, oh, it can't be helped, the weather. Let me tell you something. That's a $40 million project, man, that we pay for. You can give the people that they pay for a water truck. And that should be automatic, right? OSHA, whatever, right? Forevermore, I'm going to call this the Plume of Excellence because West Genesee likes to use the words excellence, kids, and community quite a bit. And, Plume of Excellence is what I'm going to call this particular thing. I'm sure they should appreciate that. I mean, West Genesee is about excellence. All right, so let's review. We got the Plume of Excellence here. And then we have the dust. And there's one thing I want to show you in this video here, though. See that right there? This is where they put the dust fence up. And most of my neighbors say it was because of my complaining. That was the thing that got the action. They put it up to block out my cameras, is what most people's opinions are. Which is funny, man, because if they see anything about me, man, they should probably understand that, that isn't going to stop me. But quick story. So I first email to David C. Bills was July 15th, and I didn't post my original video till August 13th. And the day after that, I'm sitting out on my back porch, and I start seeing them roll this thing out. And it was funny. I hear crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. And then right after that, I kid you not, I see 4 state trucks pull up over the water main over there, because I'm assuming somebody saw that and maybe didn't trust Digital Watchdog Partners, Call of Duty construction company to keep us safe from breaking the water main, which would have destroyed all our houses. I'm sure that they would have surely done the right thing and made sure that they made our lives whole again. But I'm not betting on it with these people if they did that. But it was funny. 4 state trucks pull up, all proud, man. A bunch of people come out and they start actually staking out that water main. Yeah. So and then I took a drive to the store, and I noticed that for the first time ever, man, they are hosing down the dirt that's coming in, man, like hosing it down, like I'm talking spanking it with water at a level I've never seen before. So that was kind of funny. There's just a funny little segue into what will be the next part of the video. All right, moving on. Just so I'm clear, this letter here that we get, we're very special over here at Clarkland. We get this after months of abuse. And the thing that I will show coming up soon, these letters are more like insults than they are anything else. Dear Clark Lane neighbors, now just so we're clear, it's August 2025, so this is late August. My first email with David C. Bills was in July, and the dust pummeling continued. But anyways, I want to really briefly go over the highlighted areas. They're sincere, which is proved, but you guys approved it. When I show you the marketing, it'll just be hilarious. We will continue to work with our construction managers from Watchdog Building Partners, Call of Duty, LLC, construction company. We are confident this project will be a great addition to the community, and we're grateful for your partnership. Yeah, dude, partnership, it's an insult. And then, so we get the second one. We want to continue to thank you for your patience. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, no, you're so welcome, West Genesee. And we will continue to work with our construction managers from Watchdog Building Partners, Call of Duty, LLC. And this is the funny part. They please accept our apology for an earlier start recently, because I posted on my website when they take responsibility and will continue to monitor our timelines. So they'll take responsibility for this, but they won't take responsibility for this, right, man? Or the thing that's coming up next, right? So in my opinion, these people are. This is pure. It's not even an opinion. It's just any logical person would see that this is BS. Okay, man, this is just like CYA. They want to make sure they call out Watchdog Building Partners, Call of Duty, LLC, and make sure that they're liable for whatever might come their way. I mean, they're fairly untouchable, I'm sure, because they're winners. But in the end, this is CYA, 100%. And yeah, just a little comment on their accepting responsibility that is in this one here. Where they please accept the apology and responsibility. But I suppose that they don't accept responsibility for this, right? Like this, for the starting early they will, but this, no, and definitely not the stuff later, right? Yeah, okay. And understand, they only started sending these letters after what I did with my videos, and it was, July. It was my first email, July 15th, with David C. Bills, and it took him to that. And I understand people are on vacation, it's a tough time, but hey, my vacations don't matter, my backyard don't matter, my health don't matter, whatever, West Genesee Department of Taxation and Construction. Okay, back really to my peaceful backyard. I will always look at this picture and remember the good old days, 13 years of good old days. All right, on to the next part of the story. So I'm working from home, which sounds better than it is. Trust me, in this scenario, it was it destroyed me, essentially. I couldn't think. Still can't, because in the end, every time they rumble that stuff off, it shakes my house, and I know that's hard for people to believe, but trust me, it's there. And I'm a person, man. I turn on music, Mozart, whatever I can do to drown it out, which makes the volume in my house epic, and I can't really think. I put earplugs in, can't stop. But anyways, I digress. So the next thing that happens is that I'm working away, and Robin comes up to me and she goes, "You need to go talk to these guys out there, because they're doing something to where the flagpole was and whatever." So I go out to talk to the guy, and the guy looks like I'm about to scream at him, this younger kid. But as I'm walking up to him, man, the only thing he kept saying to me over and over again is, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." He goes, "Go to the town, go to the town, go to the town, go to the town." Right, man, literally, the town would do nothing to help me. But I appreciate his efforts, and I, wasn't mad for him. I believe that Robin even handed these guys waters over there. So I emailed David C. Bills about this, because it turns out that they were putting what he said was like a 12-foot sign into my backyard, and 12-foot bills board. It worried me a bit. I was thinking, okay, so I remember what the old one looked like. I know what the softball ones look like. But are there speakers going on it? Because, man, that's going to be sound blasting where there was trees before. And so I emailed David C. Bills about that. So, yeah, I emailed David C. Bills about this sign that was going up essentially in my backyard where there were once trees. And I had a couple questions. One of them was the easiest one to answer. I said, hey, David C. Bills, are there speakers going up on this new awesome sign? And he basically gave me a response, and I have the emails. If it ever is ever needed, I have the emails. People are on vacation, but I'm going to look into that for you. It's very important to answer this question, right? And all I asked was, are there speakers going on it? And I mean, this guy makes what, $220,000 a year? $220,000 a year, and he can't answer whether the sign that he's going up. But I didn't realize that all the dude was doing was going to try to delay me to be able to make any headway in the situation. So yeah, I waited about a week, and I was getting frustrated because I'm obviously not very important to him, no matter what this guy says through his iPhone Pro Max that's taxpayer provided, and he eventually I started getting frustrated. My house started shaking after a week. A couple times it shook, and then finally, man, it shook one big time, and you've probably seen this video a couple times here and there. The video, wow, yeah, I'll have to turn that down there so you can actually, but, the short of this is, man, I'm going to give you the short part of the story, man. The guy was doing his Thor, his hammer things were shaking off my walls. And because, I'm sure they've done bedrock studies. These guys are top-notch Call of Duty snipers, construction company, LLC. He's shaking my house. I give this guy the middle finger. Something I don't normally do, but I at this point, my house is being attacked and whatever. He gets off of his gigantic mower, whatever you want to call it, thumper. And, gets off and starts yelling at the construction manager. And then all these guys walk up, and I immediately point to them, and I say, I said, if it was your house, you'd be pissed. If it was your house, you'd be pissed. And I said to the other guy, and I know Steamroller Boy looks like the kind of guy that would be pissed if it was him. This happened to his house. And, they all kind of nodded in silence, you know what I mean? So, and just to be clear, that only happened after I emailed David C. Bills twice about my house vibrating and his non-response. He will say that he responded after the fact, but this guy was in some wine and cheese store, tasting wines and didn't give a crap about what was happening over here, guaranteed. So after this, all the construction stops for the day, surprisingly not. And I walk in to the house, and Robin is actually on the phone with my first interaction with Kenny Kuhn. Hey, Kenny. How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Hi. So, she's on the phone with him, and I can hear the conversation, and I hear what's being said. And Ken, he's saying a lot of things. I've heard about interactions with this guy, and I know exactly who he is and what he's about. They're all about power over there anyways. They just get your money for free, right? So why wouldn't they be? I hear him say something about the property line, we could have moved it. And this guy's a moron. I'm sure is obtuse and opaque as David C. Bills was. He probably wouldn't have been stupid enough to say something like that. But these guys get wrapped up in their own political bullshit, so who knows? And at that point, I lose it, man. So these guys are still out there talking, and I see, and I am so filled with, I just can't believe what's happening to me at this point. And at this point, I'm angry, and I had energy, and I grabbed my old band PA out of the basement, Next thing that happens is I haul that band PA out onto the back deck, and my band PA's got whatever they got over there. Trust me, man. I can make just as much noise as they can if I so desire. And I started cranking like heavy rock songs, and I started doing some headbanging on my deck while staring directly at these guys. And suddenly you see Kenny Kuhn run out of his hovel, wherever his hovel is, right? Because like he said things to Robin like, this is the first I've heard of this dust or this sign or the first I've heard of it. Well, he's the director of facilities, and he's right under the number one guy, 222K a year, taxpayer dollars paid dude, and he comes running out, and they're pointing and acting like they're looking at plans to do something. So yeah, continuing on. Now we're gonna get to the part where my dad's up visiting, and he's sick. He lives down in South Carolina. I don't get to spend much time with him. But he's here for the week, and which is already hanging out at my house is becoming tough because every day is dust fest. You're gonna breathe in dust, whatever. Who cares, right? David C. Bills doesn't care. Wine and cheese tour, David C. Bills, publicly paid for iPhone, car, 220K a year guy. David C. Bills doesn't care, right? Why should he, right? I mean, it's not like we pay his salary or anything, Anyways, so yeah, they start to erect this thing, and I see the first pole going. I'm like, man, that's tall, that's tall. And just so you know, on some of these pictures, my friend saw them, and he had to come see it for himself. He's like, man, that thing is significant. It doesn't really show in the pictures, so we're clear. Yeah, and you take a look at how close this thing is to the property line too. And it's an LED with sound and speakers. And David C. Bill's response that I was waiting on, whether it has speakers or not, is I do not believe the sound will differ. And keep that in mind. I do not believe the sound will differ. David C. Bill's sound expert says that there will be no more, he doesn't believe that the sound is going to differ because he's going to his plans are to hammer the neighborhood intensely with sound that we won't even be able to tell anyways, because he's already screwed up my entire summer, destroyed it, gone. And whatever, for the community, and the kids. So yeah, I watched this thing go up with me and my dad, and it ruined the entire day because, the stress that this thing brings. And if you want to come back, you want to come and take a look at it personally, see it shine, please do. Just walk back there, it's towering, and in the bright sunlight it shines, and they put up a little thing over here that now reflects light under it, so light bounces directly into my backyard. I don't get any dot. I understand 13 years this thing didn't exist, and then they're just going to put it there without any notification, anything, right? They just get to do this. Town can't help nothing. You won't believe the shit I went through. And it still ends up doing nothing, but there's going to be parts of the story coming up that are, interesting anyways. But here, give you one more little tour, and yeah. So anyways. So yeah, after the explosion, David C. Bills in me, he understood from my last email that I know talking to him is useless because he just repeats the same things over and over again, and all he's worried about is covering his ass. And one of the things he says to me to my answer about David C. Bills are there speakers on this beautiful new scoreboard that you put up in my backyard. He says, I was waiting to find out because I didn't want to speak in generalities. Let me tell you something, man. All this dude knows how to do is talk in generalities. And all you have to do is look at his latest attempt at grabbing your money, which I'm sure he'll get, whatever, because he shamelessly put a elementary school kid up on this video. And he says, they're holding a mic in front of this kid, and they have him say, if you give me the $70 million, I will exercise more. And I guess, hey man, if that's what it takes to get in your wallet, man, these days, I guess, you better not bitch when gas prices go up, or, the cost of a coffee increases, or your grocery prices go up, because if he can take your money with that particular tactic, then, what can I say? I guess we deserve our money taken by David C. Bills and increase his bottom line. So yeah, what that resulted in is me after his last response, and I could tell what I'm dealing with. You know, we're calling a lot of people, not much is happening. I set up what I call my forward operating base in my front yard, and had to take some sick time at work because I was mentally gone. What I did do, because I can do signs, I worked in the sign industry, is I did make a banner, and I did this right in my house really quick. Not my best work, but I at first thought this was 20-foot sign, but it's obviously far, far taller than 20-foot sign. At the time, I didn't realize that it was going to be that large and shiny. You might even be able to see the reflection, going back on the houses from it. And so I put on this banner, hey, David C. Bills, will there be speakers on this board you put up without notifying any for? Bill's board. His reply, I do not believe the sound will differ. And, this is pretty much my response. That's why I asked, bro. But since it's you, we're good. So in the end, I was waiting to see, and I just camped out right here. Right. And I had to set up binoculars and I camped out. And every so often someone would take a picture of it. They probably weren't passing it around because, they didn't, probably want trouble or whatever. I don't know. But eventually somebody took notice. And one day I'm camping out there, and I pretty much did all day. Like, I just listened to tunes. I put up cameras about cameras, aiming it at them. And eventually I'm sitting here with my binoculars on my chair, and I look and I see a little gray-haired person show up, and I see Ken Kuhn come out, and I see the construction manager, and I put on my binoculars, and I'm watching these guys talk away. Mr. Kenny Kuhn is waving his hands, and David C. Bills is folding his arms and waving his hands and looking back at the sign, and they're all on this mission, on this thing. And I've seen this before, man. I know what this is, and it's obvious to anybody who's logical what it is. So what happens immediately after that is, Rob and I are sitting there talking, and we watch, and what I can only assume is the construction manager of Digital Snipers, Watchdog, Call of Duty, LLC, construction company guy, marches rapidly directly across the field and across the pavement, and then makes a beeline directly towards the sign. And this dude is funny as hell, man. Like, he must have realized suddenly, like, because they didn't even look over the fence, like we didn't exist at any point in time. The cameras are aimed at him, and I'm here, and he jumps up on the fence, and he's looking down at that electrical stuff, man. And he's kind of, you can see his hands fidgeting nervously. And Robin asked him, can we help you? And the guy goes, and then he starts kicking the wires, right, man, right? And then he jumps off the sign, and puts his hands to the sky at his side, right, man, and then does this weird sort of spin. And so all I can tell you is this, man: when you see reactions like this, and it'll make more sense towards the end, that people are pulling bullshit. All right, man, guaranteed these guys are pulling bullshit, and it's going to be obvious with the next couple pieces. Yeah, and so I'll have to go back and look at some of the timeline here, but this might have been after we talked to our new favorite scumbag, enter Mike Walker. So we get the number from the town to call this guy named Mike Walker, and Mike Walker is the guy who approves the plans. And Robin finally gets him on the phone, and we have all this, this hope. And his words are, they can't do that. We approved the plans for the sign to be where it was. You can't. And then he pulls up the neighborhood and the houses, and he's like, they can't do that. They had to have us approve those plans, and no plans were approved through my office. Okay, man, this is exactly what he says to us, man. And yeah, I didn't record the conversation, but I do have the call logs, and I have no reason to bullshit about this. You know what I mean? Because when you see the later things here, you'll understand what's happening. So he tells us all this stuff. He says, I'm going on vacation. He goes, I'm going to be gone for 3 days. Don't do anything. I hear you. He goes, and basically, like, I'm here to help, man. And all this scumbag is here for, it was to buy time, delay, bullshit. And I don't know if that had to do with the meeting of Mr. David C. Bills and his crew over there, or, the Digital Snipers, Call of Duty, Watchdog LLC, construction company boys that walked over and then, walked away, whatever. But in the end, Mr. Michael Walker, you are a scumbag, because what he did was he told us all these things and then never called us back and wouldn't take our calls. Pure scumbag. All right, man. I have no love, will never have any love or trust of anything to do with this organization. All right, on to the 2023 vote. As you see, they like to say over and over again in their letter, hey, you voted on this. Well, I don't believe that to be true. And to full disclosure, I didn't make it to the vote, but I planned on making it to the community forum. I had seen the plans, what they had sent out to the community, and what I saw was, well, they're getting a new track. What do I care? You know what I mean? Why would I care? Turns out I should have cared quite a bit, excuse me. Let's get right into it here. So I believe these docs are in order. It doesn't really matter because they all say about the exact same thing. And, excuse me. So I go through the proposal here, but Community Central District, grass field, construction, right. So let's take a look at here. Baseball, softball, field, scoreboard replacement, which is sent out by the communicator. Select roof replacement, flooring, renovations, right? And, all these things are called out clearly, you know what I mean? And he makes sure he gives you the facts, borrow, what to expect, you know what I mean? Whatever. Expect higher taxes is what to expect at all times when you're dealing with David C. Bills and the West Genesee Board of Taxation and Construction, I think is what the leading vote is at this time. So if you look here again one more time, so we're clear, this document that went out, baseball, softball, scoreboard replacement. Now I'm trying to, in the vote got the whatever you call it, the town hall got rescheduled because of weather, which I'm sure David C. Bills and Ken Kuhn were high-fiving when that happened, because I could make the first one, but I couldn't make the second one. And, as far as the vote's concerned, typically, I believe that us over here in Clark Lane are probably a minority when it comes to those things. And I don't believe that we could have made a difference. But if I had saw something that, that I was truly objectionable to, i.e. some massive reflective monolith going in my backyard with speakers, I might have voted or at least been able to say something or do something ahead of time, but that's really what he wanted to do. So we go over to this other doc here and his coffee and conversations, and man, I tell you, I wouldn't drink any of his coffee. When you drink his coffee, that's on you, man. I believe the term is typically Kool-Aid. But again, here's another thing that's sent out, right? Again, baseball, softball field scoreboard replacement, right? There it is, right there. You can see it. Again, right? They send it out. So I'm digging and I'm trying to find, anything to do with this monolith that got put in my backyard, and there's nothing. So then I go to this one here, right? And here's another one, 12/7/23, the project scope, right? And he says, lower stack. Now this is where I finally found some reference to the sign at all, and it's not the reference that what they ended up doing, and we'll show that here shortly. Lower stadium reconstruction, including tracker, still nothing, and still talks about the baseball and softball field scoreboards, right? Here we go, right? Baseball, exterior masonry and roofing replacement, select flooring, and there's a nice picture of the floor and all that stuff. Right, and then you got track reconstruction. And if you notice, he takes a picture of the sign here, this leaning tower of sign. Probably not hard to just put another one in there, whatever. And so here's where you see the only mention of the scoreboard, right here. Scoreboard replacement, right? And if you look at this non-zoomable BS here, they have some squiggly shit over here. You can't really zoom. It's not called anything. But again, replacement of scoreboard. One more time, replacement of scoreboard, right? This is the only mention of this on their document. And they follow that up. And look at, even here they show Here they show nice replacement of the scoreboards, which were replaced with very similar sized scoreboards. Again, no mention. And I did ask for the plans, which takes 30 days to get or whatever. And, thank God they approved the plans here. And none of this, no elevations. I worked in sign industry, man. You have to show elevations and plans. They didn't have to do any of that, apparently. They don't have to do these things, what everybody else does. There is some minor reference to some squiggly shit here, but even if you look at this, man, and if you look to what's actually here, it's total BS, man. It's total BS. So that combined with the story I have of, Mr. Mike Walker, if you believe anything that these guys say, then it's on you, but I have to now fight another fight, because if these guys don't necessarily, these guys will do this. They will pummel this neighborhood, in with their new, they like to call it a stadium. And it's a field. No matter what you do, it's a field. Sorry, man. I know David C. Bills probably has dreams of the dome, but that's not really what it is. And he will treat it like it's the dome, because if he will do all the deception things that he has done in the process of this to get your money, and obviously didn't care about the health of anybody on this street. In particular, like nobody cares about us, right? That's exactly how everything that he does plays out. And there's any logical person would not see it otherwise. There's only one way to look at it, man. This guy does whatever he wants, essentially. And if you talk to the town, that's pretty much what they're going to say to you. I mean, they might tell you some other stuff, but the amount of crap you're going to have to go through to try to get any satisfaction. And, people are like, well, why don't you go down to the school board meeting? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go down to the school board meeting that's basically owned by these people that allowed this to happen in this neighborhood. And, the end result is these letters from all this suffering, right? All this, right? And it's not the worst suffering in the world, but trust me, it is suffering. All right, man. And it's people getting one over on everybody else. Guaranteed. That's their goal. And that's all they really care about. They care about saying the words community and kids. And again, man, it's hilarious. If you look at the upcoming vote situation, the district is presenting conceptual plans that create an injunction with the district's architect, King and King, with a Caesar, right? Caesar, David C. Bills, King and King Construction, or whatever the hell they are, conceptual plans, right? There is no other way to read this other than give us the money and then we will do what we think is best with it. And if you're cool with that, that's cool. I mean, whatever. I can't stop that. I'm not trying to stop that. I mean, I would like to stop it. I would like to see this guy lose. I'd like to see the taxpayers stand up for themselves and actually say, I'm going to keep some of my money. But if that's not what you want, that's not what you want. I get it. So yeah, there's no way that this, in any circumstances, equal this. There's no logical person that would see that, especially with my interactions with my favorite boy, Mike Walker, his lying ass, all right, the scumbag, Mike Walker. There's my interactions, my watching of the digital snipers, Call of Duty, Watchdog, LLC, construction company. In what I saw in that dude walking away with his hands in the air, actually hands down at his side, almost looked at like in desperation, like, he wanted to kick somebody's ass, like our ass, whatever, dude. And, yeah. I mean, just to be clear, they buried it. I mean, if you look at these documents, it's clear that they buried it, man. I mean, it's buried. All right, man. They plaster with this. They give they give pictures of what it is they're going to do with those. Again, we got baseball, softball, right? And it's not a highlight. This isn't a highlight. A lighted sign with sound is not a highlight, right, man? Right, and then up here they still highlight, man, and they show you pictures of the signs, but there's no logical person that would think otherwise. So I just want to give one more thing here that cracks me up. So I looked at their marketing for this. I mean, you guys already know I'm showing up for the vote, and you know what my vote's going to be. But this line still cracks me up, man. Like we are this now. Like this gets your money. The district is presenting conceptual plans created in conjunction with the district's architect. These plans are not finalized. Nothing is finalized. Meaning, look, there is no way There is no way that this is anything but give us the money, we will decide what to do with it. In the amazing low of this organization, I watched their video, and they have some sixth grader, some young kid on there they're holding a mic in front of, and the kid says, "Give us the money, and if you do, I get a playground and I'll exercise more." Are you kidding me? Like, that's shameful, man. Like, that's dystopian shameful. But anyways, man, this is I know that I have a long battle ahead with these guys, because I believe that because they call the thing stadium, they're going to pummel this neighborhood. They're going to rent this thing out to whoever wants to use it. They're going to try to double up events. And, man, they're not paying for a privacy fence for me or nothing, man, right? They're just saying F you and doing nothing to try to reassure this, except there's two stupid letters, these stupid dumb things here that are just totally disingenuous. And we're going to have to deal with this in our neighborhood for years to come. But if these guys think I'm just going to sit there and go, "Oh, okay, David Bills, may I have some more?" You're dreaming. West Genesee Board of Education, Taxation, Construction, and David C. Bills, Emperor. Not happening, dude. Not happening. Wait till you see my flag. That's about all I got to say. So anyways, if you made it to the end of this video, I hope that, I would hope, don't expect that you would show up to vote and vote no to keep your money. I can't believe I have to tell people this, because you actually have a choice. You know what I mean? You have a choice to be able to keep your money. And if you think that anything that these people do, shoving kids in front of your face with microphones to try to, it's shame. They have no shame. They're just going to use kids for the right. And so the kids are supposed to have the sixth grader or whatever grade he was is supposed to give you $70 million or whatever it is they're asking for. So whatever ridiculous amount. So anyways, hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for taking this video. Hopefully, it explains my situation a little bit more. I have a longer video that I had to bag because it tells a little bit more, it gets a little bit more involved, but I tend to get a bit wordy. So yeah, thanks. And have a good winter.